This is not just a review of the Elgato Wave microphone. I really want to focus on how you're actually going to implement this microphone and software in your streaming setup or workflow. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Video Nerd, and in this video we will be taking a look at everything you can do with the Elgato Wave Link microphone and the software. Elgato is an amazing company and they really nail every product they make, and this time they didn't only nail the product, which is a very good and affordable USB microphone, they added a software that makes almost any other USB microphone obsolete. I'm going to divide this video into chapters. You can see them right here on the screen, and I will also add timestamps in the description, so if the new YouTube feature is doing its work, you will see that the progress bar will be divided into certain parts. However, if you're considering buying this microphone or you already have it, I'm sure that every part right down here will include at least some information that will be useful to you. Something I can't skip is going over the two different models of the Wave microphone, the Wave 1, which you can see right here, and then the Wave 3. Now Elgato only sent me the Wave 1 since it's the first time I've had contact with them, but I'm already grateful that they at least sent me this microphone so I could test it in before. But let's go over the difference between these two besides the $30 in price. To be honest, they are extremely similar. The Wave 3 can record in a higher sample rate of 96 kHz instead of the 48 kHz with the Wave 1, but that doesn't really matter for streaming, only for recording audio, and I bet that a lot of you out there are probably never going to utilize this advantage or just don't really care about the small difference. So what else is different? The Wave 1 right here is the cheapest one of the two, and it comes at $130, has one button on the front that's used to control the headphone volume and for muting the microphone. The Wave 3, that's around $160, can switch between three functions with the button on the front. These three are the microphone gain, the headphone volume, and adjusting the balance between your PC sound and your microphone. And while physically clicking the button on the Wave 1 just mutes the microphone, on the Wave 3 it's used to swap between the three different functions. To mute the Wave 3 microphone, there is a button on top that you can just press, and that will immediately mute the microphone. And these are the biggest differences. So is it worth to get the more expensive one, or should you just get this Wave 1 microphone? To be completely honest, I don't really think you should spend the extra $30. The extra functions that the Wave 3 can control with the button on the front are also controllable on the Wave 1 by just using the software. And there's also a lot you can do by linking these microphones with an Elgato Stream Deck, which we will talk about later in this video. Elgato also has a pop filter that you can buy separately for these microphones, but you should judge for yourself if it's actually needed. I'll spit out some plosives and then use one of my own pop filters to really show you the difference. So without pop filter is probably pretty unpleasant. Now with pop filter is probably more pleasant. Of course, now I'm almost spitting in the microphone, so you've heard me talking p, and then p. That's probably a difference, but oops. But I also don't know how big the difference will be because I can't hear it right now. I will see afterwards in editing if it's actually a big difference. Comment down below what you think about it. Is it worth it to get a pop filter, or is it just fine without? Let me know down in the comments. I will add a link to all the accessories that you can buy for this microphone, including a shock mount, in the description below. So once you checked out some information on this microphone and you see how insanely useful the Elgato Wave Link software is, you order the microphone and you receive the package at home. Let's go over how you actually integrate this microphone into your streaming setup. You can position the microphone in front of you on your desk using the stand that comes with it, but to avoid cluttering your desk and to actually get the microphone closer to your mouth, most people use a microphone arm. And when the microphone is closer to your mouth, the microphone doesn't need that much gain because the sound is coming from your mouth and it's very close to the mic. To attach your microphone to a boom arm, you will need to detach the foot and then use this boom arm adapter that comes with it. screw it on the mic, and then screw the adapter to the arm, which in my case is the Rode PSA-1. This is a popular microphone arm, but it's actually for heavier microphones. So because of this, I had to heavily tighten the screws of the arm to make sure it didn't completely stretch out, as the Wave microphone is very light. I will link some good boom arms in the description. So then to connect your microphone to the computer, you will need a USB cord that comes with it, and it's very long. It's like 3 meters or 10 feet. It's around that length, so you definitely have enough length to like lead it across your boom arm and then into your computer for some nice cable management. And then of course there's the software. Man, this is just amazing. I have a tutorial on my channel for Voicemeeter Banana, which a lot of you will know, and it's also a virtual mixer that a lot of people in the streaming community are using. And the program is great, but it's not made specifically for streamers, so there are some shortcomings, and I was afraid for the same lack of specific features in the Elgato software. But hey, it's Elgato, they just nailed it again. Elgato is just one of those companies that get everything right when they make something. They don't have hundreds of products, they just have their niche, which is streamers. They research what exactly these people need, and then they just build something that makes perfect sense. And for those who don't have a clear view of what the software that comes with this microphone, the Wavelink software, what it does exactly, it's actually a virtual Go XLR, and if you also don't know what that is, let me explain to you what the software does. So the Elgato Wavelink software allows you to control all your stream audio in a little window. You can add your microphone, your game sound, your music, your browser, your voice chat, and even more if you really want to. And then after linking everything together, you can control where exactly these sources are going and how loud the volume should be. So all these separate sources are coming into this virtual mixer, and then the two outputs on the bottom, this is where the audio is actually being sent to, so to your stream or to your headphones. Maybe you want to mute only the music for your stream and you want to hear the music yourself. And these faders right here are to control how loud your stream should hear something or how loud you want to hear something yourself. And you can also lock them by pressing this icon, and then they will always have the same difference in output volume. Or maybe you want to lower the music volume for yourself so you can concentrate on the game, and then you want to make it loud for the stream, and actually that's what I'm doing. I really want to concentrate on my game, I want to hear the game sounds, etc. So I lower the game sound for my stream and I make sure that the music is higher on my stream, and then for myself I make sure that I hear the game sound very loud but that the music is pretty quiet, so I can still hear which songs are playing, if it's a good song or a bad song, etc. when something's stuck. But I cannot really hear it very loud, while my stream can hear it very loud, so they can just enjoy my stream while listening to the music and hearing me talk without having a lot of special effects from games, etc. Another extremely useful feature is that you can listen to what your stream is hearing just by clicking on this ear icon next to the stream output. Let's go through all these steps you need to take to link all these separate sound sources to the Elgato Wavelink program, and then how to link everything to your stream. And make sure you follow along, because we need to change some things to get better microphone sound management. If you didn't install the software yet, go to the download page, which I will link in the description, download the installer and then install the Wavelink software. Make sure your microphone is connected to the computer, open the program, and then the first thing you want to do is clicking the sound settings button to go to your Windows Advanced Audio settings. Now you want to change the output of your computer to the Wavelink system, and this will make your PC audio go to the system column in the Wavelink software. So all your PC sound, browser, game, music, etc. is now all going to this column. But the point of this program is to separate all these sources, and that's what we will do with the columns on the right. So after installing, you're given 4 basic columns, but we can add more using these plus buttons. So let's add a source for our game, our sound effects, and then 2 extra sources called aux1 and aux2. So just to give you an overview of what the columns are doing. Once we've linked everything, we've not done it right now, but we will do it, but once we've linked everything, all our programs will be sending sound to these separate columns, right? And then these columns will send the audio to the 2 devices on the bottom, our headset and our stream mix. and then the headset of course is going to our headset, and the stream mix that will be sent to our stream, and in our stream we will import the stream mix. So then that is how everything works. So for example, Spotify sends audio to this column sends the audio to headphone and stream, and then stream will be imported on our stream. So let's go over all these columns one by one. The first one is the microphone, and we get a few settings when we click on the drop down arrow. The first slider is the gain, and simply said, this is how much you are boosting the sound that's coming into your microphone, so your voice. Quickly enable clip guard, I will explain this later, and then move this slider completely to the left and start speaking. When you speak, you gradually move this gain slider to the right, and then you will see that there's a point where adding more gain doesn't increase the input level anymore. And that's the perfect setting for your gain. If you move it further right now, you're just adding noise because your voice is already at the maximum volume, so adding more gain will not affect your voice, but it will increase the silent sounds like your keyboard or the fan noise from your computer. Preferably the microphone should be as close to your mouth as you can, but make sure while you're testing this you're actually using the setup that you will be using on stream. So if the mic is standing on your desk a bit more far away from your mouth, then also do this gain setup while the microphone is actually set up right there on your desk. Don't move it close like this to then set up the gain and test it and then afterwards put it far away from you on your desk, because that's not the point. The point of setting up this gain slider is to add just enough gain to make your voice loud enough. The output slider can be set to the maximum for most people. Then the next setting, the low cut filter, will not be the same for everyone. Basically what enabling this does is removing very low sound. So for example, when you're using a boom arm like this without an Elgato shock mount, sound from typing on your keyboard or slamming your desk can travel through the boom arm to the microphone, and it will not be absorbed by a shock mount or anything like that. While the low cut filter makes sure that these very low sounds are ignored. However, because of this, your voice will also not sound as deep or as podcast-like compared to when you would disable this filter. Now, that's the theory, and to be completely honest with you, I did some testing on this and I actually don't notice any difference when enabling or disabling this setting. Maybe for you there are some use cases where it's actually useful, but for me it doesn't really matter, so I just disable it. The next checkbox, that's a different story. This is amazing and you will definitely notice the effect of this. What the clip guard does is making sure that your audio doesn't clip, so it limits the volume when you're shouting. Because of this, there's also no difference in actual sound output between when you're talking and when you're shouting. Look at the input volume when I shout while the clip guard is disabled. Ha! And now look at it while I shout when it's enabled. Ha! This is very useful. If you want to listen to your microphone, you need to make sure that you either enable this headphone output and then click on this ear icon to listen to the headset, or that you enable this stream output and then listen to the stream mix by clicking the ear icon next to that. And before we go on to the next sources, we have a problem right now with the microphone. Now, the downside of this software is that there are no live audio effects like a noise reduction or a noise gate, which is actually very important because it silences your keyboard sounds when you're not talking, and it then enables or activates your microphone again when you start to talk, and then it picks up all sounds. But this noise gate is very useful. It's used by a lot of people. And Elgato said that they will be adding that, so like extra effects for the microphone, that they will be adding that in the future, but right now it's not available yet. However, there is a solution for this. Instead of sending our microphone together with all our other audio sources to the stream mix and then to the stream, we will be disabling our microphone in the Wavelength software and we will import it separately in our streaming software. So all these other sources like your music, your game, etc. will still be controllable in this Elgato software, which is the whole point. But our microphone will be added separately in OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS. Why do we add it separately? Well, because then we can use OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS filters. So first of all, let's link the Elgato software to our streaming software because we haven't done that yet. Let's say you're using Streamlabs OBS. In that case, you would go to your settings, and this also works for OBS Studio, to the audio tab, and then instead of using the default PC audio source right here, we will disable it and add our microphone source that's called Wavelink Stream. So what happens now is all these sources in the Elgato software are being sent to the stream mix that you see right here at the bottom, and then that stream mix is being imported in Streamlabs OBS. And this is great, but we muted our microphone, and if you didn't do that yet, you should mute it right now. And then we will add a second microphone input in our streaming software, and right here we will import the Elgato microphone. So once you did that, you will see that there are two extra sources right here in the mixer. One for our Wavelink Stream and then one for our Elgato Wave microphone. And hold on, because there's something important about this microphone import right here that you will probably not expect. So you would assume if we selected our microphone separately that this Wave microphone is going directly to our streaming software, right? But that's not the case. The microphone is actually first going to the Elgato Stream software, and then of course it's not being sent anywhere because we disabled the headphone and the stream output. But when we select this microphone in Streamlabs OBS, we are actually importing it from the software to the streaming program. So that means that our microphone, so our sound, is still going through the Wavelink software and then to our stream. And because of this, the effects that we see right here in the Wavelink software, so the clip guard and the gain which we can adjust, this is still being applied to the microphone before it goes to Streamlabs OBS, and that's very important to note because we do not need a limiter anymore or a clip guard because that's already applied in the software, and we can also set up just the gain of the microphone in the software before adding filters in Streamlabs OBS. So then after we import it from Wavelink to Streamlabs OBS right here as this microphone source, now we can apply filters to it in Streamlabs OBS to add extra effects to it. Now in both Streamlabs OBS and OBS Studio, you can access the filters by clicking on the cog icon next to the microphone source and then going to the filters. Then by clicking the plus icon, you can choose which filter you want to apply. Now I have two separate videos that go in depth on all these filters and show you how to set up all the filters for your stream to be stream ready and to make your audio management more professional. So I will link them in the cards and then also in the description so you can check them out if you want. They are very useful for automatically muting your microphone when you're not talking, reducing constant noise from your computer, and a bunch of other settings. So again, link in the card in the description. I really advise you to check them out. But remember, after all this, there is a possibility that by the time that you are watching this tutorial, Elgato already added the option to add extra effects natively in Wavelink. So make sure you check if these effects are already available in the Wavelink software. And if they are not, I really advise you to route it separately and then apply filters right here in your streaming software. Now that our microphone is set up correctly, it's time to link these other sources. So how do we actually get all those different programs to send their audio to all these separate sources in Wavelink? Well, just click on this icon on top and that will open your PC's advanced audio settings again. Right here in the sound settings, you can see all the programs that are currently producing sound on your PC. So if I launch Spotify and then I play a song, you will see that Spotify will appear right here in the list. And now the output column you see right here, this controls where all the sound of all these separate programs is going. So if you haven't changed anything right here, they will all be set to default. So they all go to this general output on top. And this is what we linked to our Wave software. So all the sources are going to the default on top, and that is coming in as the system source in the Wavelink software. And once you understand this, it's actually pretty easy, to be honest. For example, Spotify, this is what I use to play my music on stream. So I will change the output of Spotify in the output column and I will set it to Wavelink Music. So now instead of Spotify sending my music to the default source, so to this general output and then to the system source in Elgato, it now sends my music to the Wavelink Music source, and that's a separate source right here in the Wavelink software, as you can see right here. So because of this, I can control the sound of my music in my headphones and on my stream separately without affecting any other sounds on my computer. Hey future video nerd here, I forgot to record how to link the browser to your Elgato software, but it's very easy actually, just like the other things. In the advanced audio settings, just search for your browser, so for me it's Google Chrome, and then change the output of that to Elgato browser, and that way Chrome will send the audio directly to the browser column in the Elgato software. To be honest guys, this Wavelink software is game breaking at the moment, and honestly as a beginning streamer I see no reason at all to get any other entry level microphone besides this Wave 1 or Wave 3 microphone, because the software is just amazing and you only get the software together with the mic. Of course, if you want to spend like $500-600, there are other options. You can get a Go XLR with like an XLR mic, etc. But even so, for me right now, I don't have a Go XLR. However, wait a second. I do have this XLR microphone and I can connect it to my audio interface, but it's just a simple audio interface. And I've done a few streams using the Elgato Wave software and this mic. And to be honest, I prefer all the control that I have with the Wavelink software over the extra sound quality from this microphone without having all the control when I use this mic, because I don't have another mixer. I don't have a Go XLR, which is a physical expensive mixer to put on your desk, but there's not really other software that does the same thing as the Elgato Wavelink software. So really, if you're a beginning streamer and you don't want to buy a Go XLR plus an XLR mic, then you should really consider getting this microphone. And I'm not saying this because I'm sponsored, because I'm not sponsored, they just sent me this microphone. But really, to be honest guys, yeah, this software is just amazing. And I'm really curious about what your impressions are on this microphone, the sound quality, and how useful the software is. So please comment it down below. Tell me what you think about it, if you know any alternatives, if you're actually going to get a Go XLR, or if you don't care about this control and you're just gonna buy a Blue Yeti or something like this. Just let me know, I'm really curious actually. And then the next column is our voice chat, and I will show you how to link Discord, since that's what most people or most streamers or gamers are using. So go to Discord, go to the settings, and then to voice and video. And even if you did set up the Wavelink microphone as your default input in the Windows sound settings, you still need to directly select the Wavelink microphone as your input device for Discord, or it will not work. You can click on Let's Check to test the microphone, but make sure that you don't forget to disable it again. Then your output, this should be set to Wavelink voice chat. Let's go back to the Wavelink software, and this voice chat source that we just set up is a really important one. A lot of the questions I get from you guys in my comment section and in my Discord are about how to mute your voice chat program for these streams, so only you can hear your friends but your viewers cannot. And it was definitely possible, but you had to make sacrifices, at least if you wanted to do it for free. You had to choose between doing this for Discord or doing this for your music. And now with Wavelink, it's just as easy as going to the voice chat tab and then muting the stream output right here, so it will not be sent to your stream and it will be sent to your headphone. Something that also could be very handy is just lowering the voice chat a bit, so it's clear to the stream when you are talking versus when your friends are talking, because your microphone will be louder than the voice chat if you just lower the volume a bit for your stream. And the same goes for the music, for example, like I already talked about. You can mute it for yourself and not for your stream or otherwise, or make it more quiet for yourself so you can focus on footsteps but your stream is still enjoying loud music. I'm not going into it again. You have a lot of options, you know what the options are by now, so let's just get to the next audio source. The next one is game sound, and this is also pretty straightforward. You should go to your game and then set your playback device or output device or sound device, whatever it's called in the settings of your specific game. You just set it to Wavelink game. Your microphone in-game should then of course be set to mic in Elgato Wave 1 or 3, depending on which microphone you have, and then you're all set up for your game. The last pre-named source is the sound effect source, and while you can choose what you want for this, I think a good use for the sound effects column are your alerts. So that will allow you to make your alerts more quiet so they don't distract you or disturb you too much while talking. or while listening to something in game, so you can still hear when an alert is playing, so you can look at your other screen to see if it was bits or a follow or a sub, etc. But it's not too loud. Or you can mute it for the stream because they do not have to hear it and you want to hear it yourself. So linking your alerts to the sound effects column is really handy. And the way to do this is different for OBS Studio than for Streamlabs OBS. OBS Studio makes this very easy. You just go to your advanced Windows sound settings and you change the output of OBS Studio to wavelength sound effects. Now, when alerts are being triggered in OBS Studio, they will be sent to this sound effects column, so you can control where the audio is and isn't going and how loud it should be. Now in Streamlabs OBS, and this is very important, you cannot use the default alerts widget that's built into Streamlabs OBS because you can't control where that sound is going. For some reason, it's just always going to the system source in Elgato Wavelink. If you know a fix for this, definitely comment it below. I've tested around with it. It doesn't work, but there's an alternative to this. You can set up your alerts on the website of Streamlabs and then copy the stream key to a browser source in Streamlabs OBS and then check the box that says control audio via OBS. If you have no clue how to set up your alerts using the online version of Streamlabs, I have a video on that goes over all the different settings and possibilities, etc. And I will link it in the cards and also again in the description. So then once you check the control audio via OBS, now you can go to the advanced sound settings and then route Streamlabs OBS to the sound effects from Elgato, just like we did with OBS Studio. It was just that OBS Studio is by default sending the audio just through the OBS program, and Streamlabs OBS wasn't sending it like through the program but immediately to your PC sound. So you need to check that box in Streamlabs OBS if you want to route it to the sound effects column. So then once we linked the sound effects column, as you can see there are two more sound columns, aux1 and aux2, and like I mentioned before, you can choose what you want to do with this. Most people will not need them, but if you come up with some creative ways of using extra sound sources, they are available right here. And of course, since this microphone is from Elgato, there's also the possibility of controlling the Wavelink software with the Elgato Stream Deck. After making sure you have the most up-to-date version of the software, you can go to More Actions, search for Wave and then install the Wavelink integration. Now in the right column you will be able to find Wavelink, and under that you can see a bunch of actions. Let's go over all of them and I will show you some cool things that you can do with this. The first one is toggle monitoring, and this is pretty basic but extremely useful. If you ever wonder if a certain song or in-game soundtrack or something like that is playing too loud, or if your stream sound is messed up for the viewers, by adding this function to your Stream Deck, you can quickly swap between hearing your normal sound, so your monitor mix, and between hearing the stream mix. As you can see, when I'm pushing this button on my keyboard, the Wavelink software is swapping between the monitor mix and the stream mix. The second function is the mute input, and this can be used to mute and unmute a specific audio source. This has a lot of potential, especially when combined with multi-actions from the Stream Deck. So let me show you what's possible right here. Let's drag this to a key and then check out the settings at the bottom. The input is the audio source that you will be muting, so let's select our music right here. But then you have another option, and that is if you want to mute it for your stream or for yourself. And as you can see, when I press this button on my keyboard right now, you will see that the music monitor mix is getting muted in the Wavelink software. And then when using multi-actions, we can also mute music for both ourselves and for our stream by just going to Stream Deck, dragging this multi-action function to a key, and then dragging two mute input functions to the multi-action. Then set up one for the music monitor mix and one for the music stream mix. When I press this button on my keyboard, you will see that both the monitor and stream mix will be muted in the Wavelink software. And you can even combine the muting and unmuting of certain sources such as music, game, alerts, etc. So you can get really creative with this function. However, make sure that you pay attention to the fact that muting your microphone this way doesn't work, since we're not using this microphone output, as we are importing our microphone separately in our streaming software to apply filters to it. But instead of this, you can add a mixer audio function from OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS to the multi-action, but then you can only choose to activate or deactivate it. You can't automatically make it mute and then unmute once you press the button again, so you're better off just making separate buttons to mute and unmute your microphone, or just use the physical mute button, the physical mute button on the Wave microphone to mute it if you want. And before we go to the next function, please consider liking this video if you're enjoying it, because that helps a lot for the YouTube algorithm. So for the next function then, the set input volume can be extremely useful to upgrade your stream production quality by making separate moods and sound settings for each scene. So for example, let's say you want your music to be pretty loud during your game, because then you're not talking a lot, but then when you go in queue, you want your music to lower the volume, because then you want to interact with your viewers and you want them to hear you clearly and pretty loud. In that case, you could set up a multi-action and then add a switch to intermission screen, but also a set input volume function that adjusts the volume to, for example, 30%. Then you could also throw in an extra set input volume function and change your game sound to 0%. So then, for example, when you're in your intermission screen, your game sound goes to 0, your music lowers from 80% to 30%, and your voice just stays at like 80, 90, 100%. So in that case, you can make one button to swap the scene and adjust all the separate volume settings to really create an enjoyable watching experience. To be honest, the possibilities with using the Stream Deck software together with all these program links and then the Wavelink software, the possibilities are endless. You can be really creative with this. And I will quickly go over the remaining functions because I covered most of the mechanics of these functions and implementations. So let's see what's left. Adjust input volume. This just allows you to change the volume in steps instead of choosing a certain value to set it to. Mute output. This is straightforward. You can completely mute all your sound in your headset or for your stream. Set output volume. This works like set input volume, but the output volume controls all headset sounds or all stream sounds. So this function is linked with these two sliders right here in the Wavelink software. Adjust output volume, again like adjust input volume, but then for the headset or the stream in general. And then the last function, microphone settings. This setting has a lot of options and can control everything that you're seeing right here in the software, in the settings for your microphone, and then some extra things. You should look at all the possible settings right here and just see what you need. I think that's all. There will be links in the description for this microphone or the accessories, so if you want to check it out, you can do that. And if you want to buy it, I would appreciate it if you would use my links, because of course then I get a little percentage of it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, because I stream every Monday, Wednesday and sometimes Friday. So if you want to talk to me on stream, I will show my link right here on the screen and also in the description. And to see behind the scenes of what I'm doing every day for this channel, just follow me on Instagram at @thevideonerd. I post stories all day and I answer all my DMs right there. If you have any questions or you just want to say hi, leave a comment right here on YouTube, or join my Discord server like many of the TVN community have already done. Right now we are with 800 or 900 people. Maybe by the time you're watching we have a few thousand. I certainly hope so. Our Discord is the best place to get quick help with a problem you're having, so definitely consider joining us there. And since you're interested in this microphone, I'm pretty sure either my complete Streamlabs OBS playlist or my OBS Studio playlist will contain at least some videos that will be useful to you. Definitely check out the audio filters video in one of these playlists, because that will improve the production quality of your stream when you're using this Elgato microphone. I will see you in one of these two.